Good morning, traders. Matt Weller here, Global Head of Research with FOREX.com. Today is Friday, the 22nd of May, 2026, and major markets are consolidating ahead of the Memorial Day holiday in the U.S., which gives us an opportunity to look ahead to what could be one of the defining risk appetite events coming up over this summer, the SpaceX IPO. Let's get into it. First, a quick summary of the price action. We've seen no new developments between the US and Iran of note. Major markets are broadly consolidating heading into the long holiday weekend. And I do want to note that the Treasury market will be closing early today. So that could lead to a drying up of liquidity, potentially low volatility, unless we see a surprising announcement as traders start their weekend early. But the main focus of today's video is what's shaping up to be one of the biggest events for the market and markets more generally as we head into the summer. Earlier this week, SpaceX filed its S1 filing ahead of an IPO. So we'll see the roadshow start as soon as next week ahead of the IPO, which is likely around the June 10 to June 12 timeframe. SpaceX is targeting a $1.75 billion valuation, which would put it in the top 10 for the largest companies in the world. But I'll note they're only looking to raise about 75 billion. So there will be a relatively small free float relative to the size of the company. Now, if you look at the financials, it's pretty difficult to make at least a backward-looking case for such a high valuation. The company lost $2.6 billion in 2025. That was on $18.7 billion in revenue. However, the prospects may be more optimistic moving forward, including a recently signed contract with Anthropic around data centers and AI that could pay SpaceX $1.25 billion per month until May of 2029. I will note, though, that contract can be canceled by either side with, I believe, a 60-day notice. So there are some risks to that. I don't think traders and investors will necessarily guarantee that we'll see that contract play out through the end, but that certainly contributes to a more optimistic picture for SpaceX's financials moving forward. But broadly speaking, this is a story stock. So if traders are growing more optimistic about the potential for space, data centers in space, mining, any number of factors, that's where we could see SpaceX really rise after the offering. And conversely, if we start to see more of a focus on actual real returns and profits, that could weigh on SpaceX stock. One more wild card to watch around the IPO is whether major indices will include the stock. That could lead to a lot of programmatic buying from passive traders, and notably that takes place at the end of the day ahead of the inclusion in the index the following day. So if that happens on day one, we could see a big raft of passive buying heading into the close, and that could be something that traders are looking ahead to as it trades on its very first day. Just to put this IPO into context here are the largest IPOs we've seen in history. And the big line at the top is the projected valuation of SpaceX, absolutely dwarfing all the previous IPOs. Though perhaps if we look at this chart, say a year down the road, we could see IPOs from the likes of OpenAI or Anthropic that could be on this same scale. But clearly a major theme here as there's immense appetite for some of these high-flying tech names. And that's something that could be a theme as we move forward. Now, of course, SpaceX is not publicly traded yet. That's the whole point of this video, but we can look at some proxies that are companies like Rocket Labs, ASTS, GSAT, VSAT. All of them have gone pretty much parabolic here. Looking at the 1 year chart here, some of them are up on the magnitude of 600%. At the bottom, I've highlighted two space ETFs. Those, of course, are lagging because they're much more diversified, but also seeing very strong 1 year returns on the magnitude of about 80% all the way up to 160%. So there's clearly massive investor appetite for space companies, and that could be a seminal moment for the market as this IPO comes to light. Certainly it's something you want to be watching, obviously, if you're interested in buying it or maybe even shorting it. But more broadly, it could have a big impact on indices given its high valuation, and crucially, it could have an impact on risk appetite more generally. So you'll want to be keeping a close eye on markets when that IPO is announced to see how it performs on its first day, first week, first month, and beyond. That concludes today's video. Thank you for sticking around to the end. If I can ask just one favor before you go, please do drop a like on this video. It helps more people see our videos. It helps us with the algorithms, and it would be a big favor to us. Also, if you're not already, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel at FOREX.com. Thanks again, best of luck with your trading, and have a great weekend.